Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show on the planet. I am your host, Michael Karvelis, and this is Daily Dive. It is Monday, March 11th, 2026, and this show begins now. We are live streaming via the airwaves of North American Talk Radio on YouTube. Thank you for tuning in to this great channel, which has other shows and, of course, live sports, including more Box Lacrosse League action from Colorado coming up this season. On today's episode, we'll first get into the Rochester Nighthawks hiring a new coach, but wait, it's interim. That's interesting. Next, we're going to get to my 2026 Comcup breakdown / reaction, where the IIJL and Canadian Lacrosse League, or CLL, was in Australia. I'll talk about that event and why I think it was very important for just box lacrosse in general. Then I'll give you my MVP frontrunners right now, my top 4. It's changed a little bit since week 12 when we last did it. And finally, I'll get to my NLL Power Rankings. Before we get started on this show, head over to the shop found at natalkradio.us/NLL to see the NLL merchandise. They got unboxed shirts and hoodies and even cups. They've got team shirts and hoodies. They've also got player name shirts, which is awesome. Again, natalkradio.us/NLL takes you straight to that store and gives us a little bit of credit in the process. The Rochester Nighthawks have hired a new coach. His name is Randy Mearns. Now, Randy Mearns has played in the NLL and has affiliated himself with the PLL and other leagues while coaching. I find it interesting, the wording on this by Seneca Nation and the Nighthawks PR. They called him the interim coach. Now, not only is firing your coach mid-season, especially on the trade deadline day, a little bit taboo, or I don't want to say taboo, but a little bit random in the NLL and unheard of, should I say. That's the term I was looking for. It also does not happen where a guy's just the interim coach, at least as far as I've seen. Through my first 4 years of doing this show, I don't remember a time where this happened like this. An interim coach usually means you still have a chance to get canned at the end of the season. And if that is the verbiage here for Randy Mearns, I'm actually going to, again, respect Seneca Nation, because they're not viewing this as just another crappy NLL owner. They are hell-bent on this thing. And I think, again, they're doing something you see in bigger leagues. And to me, if we're going to keep on growing this league in this game, I feel like we're going to have to see more stuff like this, where a guy is fired despite all the old boys thinking he's the best thing since sliced bread, where a guy is named an interim coach because they have not gone through a hiring process. They need a guy to coach their team this weekend when the team plays in Vegas or in Henderson. And I'll be quite frank with you, the offensive guy has been awful. He's lucky that he still has a job. Again, the coach of Rochester that's still on the team is Kyle Calais. And I told you guys, the home numbers on offense have been absolutely unacceptable for a roster this good. Or at least we think it's that good. And I know coaches cannot do, they can only do half the battle. The players have to do the rest of it. I still think how Mike Hazen and Pat O'Toole getting fired, it was a little bit odd. But I wonder if Kyle Calais is also on a short leash. So that's my take on that. And again, I'm happy what Seneca Nation is doing right now. You got to make tough decisions. And who knows, maybe Randy Mearns does stay for 20 years. Maybe they do, drag him out the way other NLL coaches have been. All we know is that apparently Seneca was not happy with Mike Hazen, and they also probably did their research. Their NLL fandom probably runs a little bit deeper than just this season. I know everyone up north is going to say duh, but like, as a person in Georgia who doesn't know the history like that, I'm going to take a wild guess and say Seneca did their research on Mike Hazen's last 5 years, especially since the team got their new Rochester Nighthawks. So he got the boot. Randy Mearns is now auditioning, I guess. And again, he might be the guy. They might name him head coach. But right now, the term interim was used, and that has got to matter. We're going to take a quick commercial break to start things off. And when I come back, I'm going to talk about what went down in Australia. That's right, Kangaroo Land, where Canada took down Australia in a battle for the Commonwealth Cup. What was that, and why was it so fun for me to watch in the middle of the night? We'll be right back to Daily Dive. Don't go anywhere. 3 more topics, baby. We're at a big show today.
You're listening to North American Talk Radio, the all-new talk radio station featuring sports, movies, politics, mental health, and more. Check us out at natalkradio.com and subscribe today. Buy event tickets straight from our website to help the cause and get tickets to your favorite events for less. That's natalkradio.com. Thanks for listening.
Welcome back to Daily Dive. Again, I'm your host, Michael Karvelis. You are tuning in to the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talks on the planet. I just talked about the interesting fact that Randy Mearns was named interim coach, and so he's not. I think his leash will be long, and I think he will probably be the coach if I had to analyze it, but I like the fact that he's not 100% yet. That's awesome. Pat Gregoire, good point. Dan Richardson stepped down as GM of the Warriors in January of 2023, so about 2 years ago. Well, gosh, 3 years ago now. Well, I'm getting old. Head coach Troy Cordingley got named interim GM. And I don't think that GM lasted long for Cordingley. Like, because I'm pretty sure he's on another roster. Like, is he in Buffalo now? Or is he still in Vancouver? I mean, I don't know like where Troy Cordingley's at now, but maybe he still is in the front office of Vancouver. That's an interesting fact, though, the interim GM, because I'm wondering, did that keep lasting? I think I've heard his name, but like, I don't remember where recently. Anyways, good stuff there by Pat. And, of course, Mimico Trike saying, that's right, Gas Sawyer now. Let's talk now about the 2026 Commonwealth Cup. It was in Melbourne, Australia. If you wanted to watch these games live, I believe the earliest one started at like 1 a.m. Eastern sometimes, so that was interesting. But when you have a night shift job like myself and I do security, for those that are curious, not that it matters, but I have a little bit of leeway. Like the night hours, it's funny because I don't want to tell my job, hey guys, nothing's happening until like 3 a.m., but I'll leave for now. Anyway, so I'm pretty much free watching this thing, and I ain't gonna lie. I was very happy. I was very entertained. And we'll get to the championship game, which to me was the most fun of it all. But as you guys know, I've had a guy, Chris Fox, on from the CLL. You guys have seen his account, I'm sure, around. One of the things that he does right now is the IIJL. A lot of good junior lacrosse players. I know they're not the best, everyone says, but it's still competitive box lacrosse. And it's not like you're watching like 10-year-olds play. Like, these guys are like they're good. Like, they're not bad players. And so I actually enjoyed what I was watching. And in this game in Australia, you took guys like Alex Hatches and the great goalies over there. And it was entertaining. Hatches had multiple games where he scored at least 5 or 6 goals. There was a few players that I thought were amazing that should get other looks, like Luka Dillon was one who had like 10 goals in one game. And before people say, oh, well, the goaltending, I don't think the goaltending defense was that bad. Like, was it the best, like, found in other leagues where pros also play? Probably not. Was it that good? No. But was I entertained? Absolutely. If I am craving box lacrosse content in full games for free, why not watch that stuff on YouTube? I was very happy about that. If you search up Canadian Lacrosse League on YouTube, you can actually find those games as well. You'll see a big red background with a white, like, Canadian leaf in a way. I don't know what that leaf is. My point is, it was fun. And the best part about this was the championship game was getting soaked. I mean, that was a torrential downpour. And it was phenomenal to see how it affected things, because it was outdoor box lacrosse. And it got me thinking about, like, well, you couldn't have an all-star game there. Could you have like an off-location NLL, like just an international game? Like, that would be so cool. And it got me also thinking, why? I know the travel costs, I get it. But the NLL, I think, would benefit to have once a year do their outdoor game overseas in a place they're trying to grow the game. I know it would take sacrifice of money, but at this point, I feel like we're used to that kind of stuff. And I feel like you could, if you wanted, find a few sponsors for it. Like, I feel like NLL fans and other people think that, oh, you know, we need a big sponsor. And while I believe that's true, I'll tell you right now, when we went to Montana and we went to and we broadcasted Colorado or box lacrosse league games, we found sponsors. It wasn't enough to cover an entire 2 teams going over there with the guys getting paid, but it was enough to, like, oh, that was actually a pretty good sum of money, I felt like. And it helped to justify what we were doing. And again, it's not the amount you need for an NLL matchup there, but you can't find any Australian sponsors or just anybody. And again, not to crap on the NLL, I just think opportunities like this could be fun. Like, if we're not going to have the All-Star game, obviously, for the foreseeable future, at least for now, if we're not going to have, you know, like, if the unboxed game is going to happen every, 2 or 3 years, why not do some outdoor game, which I think was a great success for San Diego? I don't care how much money they made. I thought it was fun. Like, that's something like unified standings is something they've like, okay, we're going to take the losses because that's a ton of travel. They're fine with that. I feel like this is one of those things you could do that could sacrifice your wallets a little bit, and you could get like a sponsor to help you out, but it wouldn't feel too bad because you'd be showing the greatest version of lacrosse to the world. Like, even the NFL doesn't. I know the NFL packs out their stadiums, but those people don't even know about American football like that. And I feel like, even though, like, yeah, the Americans are like, oh, why is this happening? Why is it not happening? Why would you not try that if you think your game can be that good globally, which I believe football, basketball, like, all these sports can be popular locally. If I like to watch them, why wouldn't someone in Spain want to watch it? Yeah. Now, there's a lot of negotiations that have to go on. But again, the fact that this was pulled off was very cool. And again, the torrential downpour was kind of cool to watch. I've always been one that kind of pushed back on NFL snow games because, like, it ruins what the normal game would have been. But I also like that both teams had to adjust to it. Like, there were times when a player could not go out in an all-out sprint because he didn't want to slip and tear an ACL, for crying out loud. But it was very fun to watch. The scenery was gorgeous. And I think, like, man, what the future of box lacrosse could be. So shout out to Chris Fox and everyone else who made that happen. Amazing stuff there. I love it. There you go. Okay, I knew he was in Calgary. That was another place I was like, is it Calgary? Thank you for that. And of course, unboxing. This. Why not label it the unbox game. Like, why not call it the outdoor unbox? I don't know. I feel like there's a way to do that. Play at the iconic outdoor. Whoa, did you like, wow, okay. There you go. I love that. Like, I don't know how to pronounce half of what he said there, but yeah, like bring these, like you could actually label it the unboxed outdoor game or something like that, and that could work. Now, granted, I know the unboxed game, you want to show it to the people in your area, but let's be real. The kids in Montreal and Edmonton, I don't think anybody from middle school showed up to those games, respectfully. And so I kind of like, why not put the unboxed logo on the outdoor game? I feel like it would work. I feel like kids overseas would actually be more inclined to try it than kids in North America. Because kids in North America have hockey, they have baseball, they have basketball, they have football. Why not show the other kids that may just have cricket or just have soccer or stuff like that? Like, I love it. But yeah, 2026 Comcup was great. I had some fun making a Twitter account called IIJL_Dilly Dive. I know people saw it, and I'll think about what to do with that. But like the Daily Dive umbrella will expand, and I'm just excited for it. So that was one of the ways that we were trying to do our thing. You also can go on our Daily Dive Lax Instagram page and see the story highlights. It should have the white background with that logo in red, and you should see like a little bit of highlights from there. Alrighty, folks, when I come back to the show, let's talk about the MVP race, and I've got a new hot take, because I don't think it's as close as it once was. I'll break it down next. You're watching Dilly Dive. Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to North American Talk Radio, the all-new talk radio station featuring sports, movies, politics, mental health, and more. Check us out at natalkradio.com and subscribe today. Buy event tickets straight from our website to help the cause and get tickets to your favorite events for less. That's natalkradio.com. Thanks for listening.
Tomorrow night on North American Talk Radio's YouTube channel at 8 o'clock Eastern, The Great Divide with Jeff Beck will once again commence as he talks all things politics, interesting stuff in sports and pop culture, and more. That's tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern, right here on North American Talk Radio's YouTube channel. So far on today's show, I talked about Rochester hiring a new interim coach in Randy Mearns, who will probably have a long leash, but I'm interested to see how that plays out. I also talked about the 2026 Comcup, which you can view those games on YouTube for free. Search Canadian Lacrosse League. And now it's time to get to my MVP of the league after Week 15, or at least the award race for it. Reminder that after this, I'll have my Week 15, post-Week 15 NLL Power Rankings. So remember the narrative going into a lot of the season, at least the first half, was Brad Dobson is runaway MVP. And while I have echoed those same statements, I'm going to be honest. There is a way, it's twofold, where Jeff Teat is going to close this gap, okay? Now, I'm going to throw up the MVP on the stage right now. I do have Brett Dobson at number 1 still. And again, what has Brett Dobson done this season? Well, let's talk about it. Brett Dobson right now has, of course, an 8-4 record with the Swarm, an 85.7 save percentage, 493 saves. 85-plus save percentage is unheard of in the NLL. I believe it was Brad Challoner who talked about how the goals against average for the Swarm might break a record if it stays like this. And coming up in the rest of the season, the Georgia Swarm right now have to play versus Vancouver this weekend, versus Halifax, who's not going to be laying down, at Frisky Ottawa Black Bears, versus San Diego, see how good they are, and then a doubleheader with Rochester. What I see on there is a very good Vancouver offense, a very good Ottawa offense, and 2 potentially good Rochester offenses. The door is wide open for Jeff Teat, who sits in number 2. Because the Black Bears are now 3 games over 500. I mentioned that's the first time since Jeff Teat has been in the NLL, his team has been 3 games above the 500 mark. And right now, Jeff Teat has 35 goals, 55 assists, 37 of which are primary, 95 loose balls, 6 caused turnovers, and 3 blocked shots. And in case you're wondering, Jeff Teat, only 51 turnovers. That makes it that much more impressive. In fact, let me pull up this stat here as well, because I want to just make sure 51 turnovers. I want people to realize the perspective of what Jeff Teat's doing. So it's technically 55 according to the people who track the data. I apologize for that. But 1,262 touches. Meaning, and I think that like the time that Jeff Teat has the ball in his stick. All right? So let's do something here. Let's Google 55 of 1,262 as a percentage. Yeah. He turns it over only 4% of the time. That's actually more than I thought it would be. I thought it would be like a point something, but 4.3% of the time, Jeff Teat turns it over. I feel like that's pretty ridiculous. Again, he has touched the ball 1,200 times and has 50 turnovers. It's ridiculous. And I do think the way that not only has Jeff Teat obviously accumulated the points, and it's not just the points in his own team, he leads the league in points once again. And when you combine that with the playoff aspect of it, and not just an 8 seed, but a higher seed, and then you like parlay that with the fact that he's been a captain clutch in the 4th quarter, that is going to have to matter. And if Brett Dobson, because I don't think it's finishing above 85%. Right now, it sounds awesome. And Brett Dobson will be right there for MVP. But I'm telling you right now, if Georgia gets like a 10-8 record or 11-7, Jeff Teat's team wins like more games this year, and Brett Dobson's got like an 83.5 save percentage, I'm telling you right now, that conversation for Jeff Teat is going to go way higher. It's going to get a lot stronger because what he's doing is ridiculous. And before it was like Brett Dobson was having such a great year, I'm predicting it right now. The MVP race is close, and Jeff Teat could win it. I don't think it's a runaway train because I'm predicting what's going to happen, and Jeff Teat's going to keep on piling up the points, and Brett Dobson's save percentage is realistically going to fall below 85. There's no way with the teams that he plays. I hope it happens. I don't think there's a way it does, though. Ryan Keenan has reached number 3 on my MVP race. For the first time this year, a Rush player is on there. And right now, Ryan Keenan has 7 more points than Robert Church, who is second on the team. He's got the first amount of goals. And I think Ryan Keenan, like someone on Saskatchewan's offense, is going to have to be close to the ballots And I think Ryan Keenan at this moment has been good enough for that moment. Now, I will also say this, as I have Keegan Ball at number 4. Curtis Dix is making this very tough on Keegan Ball, by the way, as is Christian Del Bianco. I'm just going to give you other guys that I think are in the mix, because I think 1 and 2 are pretty much clear cut. I think someone from Vancouver will probably make it. I want to know who's the 4th guy. But I think the top 2 guys are way above, all right? So, I've got guys like Andrew Q, Christian Del Bianco, Dylan Ward. I'm going to say CJ Kirst, there's a door for him. Because what he's doing is not just rookie stuff, it is borderline MVP. If the Rock keep winning games, I know, well, he's got a good roster. So does most of the guys that people try to hype up. Like, how many times has Dane Smith had Josh Byrne right next to him and no one gave a crap? At least that's what they told me. All right? So, I think CJ Kirst is up there. I think Mike Messenger is up there. If Connor Fields or Dane Smith's team can finish strong, I think those guys are up there. And I could see Frank Scigliano sneaking into the conversation as well. But I'm telling you, those guys are on the doorstep of the top 4. But I think the top 2 will be who the actual finalists are. Like, there's gonna be like, what, 4 or 5 guys in the final vote system. I feel like Brett Dobson and Jeff Teat will get the only first place votes. And if anyone else does, the voter is smoking crack, quite frankly. Because those 2 guys have been the MVPs of the league. There is no one close. Now, in terms of best points right now, Keegan Ball is 2nd place in that category. But, again, Jeff Teat with Ottawa is more impressive, in my opinion, especially since, Jeff Teat just has the ball more. When I come back to the show, let's get to my NLL Power Rankings. And there's been a little bit of a shake-up towards the playoff picture range. And also, who will be the worst team in the league? Because at this point, that's one of the best stories of the year so far. You're watching Daily Dive. We'll be right back. We're going to wrap it up next.
You're listening to North American Talk Radio, the all-new talk radio station featuring sports, movies, politics, mental health, and more. Check us out at natalkradio.com and subscribe today. Buy event tickets straight from our website to help the cause and get tickets to your favorite events for less. That's natalkradio.com. Thanks for listening. You're listening to North American Talk Radio, the all-new talk radio station featuring sports, movies, politics, mental health, and more. Check us out at natalkradio.com and subscribe today. Buy event tickets straight from our website to help the cause and get tickets to your favorite events for less. That's natalkradio.com. Thanks for listening.
Welcome back to Daily Dive. I am your host, Michael Karvelis. This is the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show on the planet. It is Wednesday, March 11th, 2026. So far on today's show, I talked about Randy Mearns being named the new interim coach for the Nighthawks, but I think he should keep the job. And I'll get to more on that tomorrow. I also talked about the 2026 Comcup It was in Australia. A bunch of players around the 18 to 21 range, I believe, were something in that ballpark. Put on a show. Alex Hatches, Luca Dillon, and more looked awesome. The goalies were great. The torrential downpour in the championship game, all great stuff. I wish the NLL would do some overseas outdoor events. My MVP, I got Brad Dobson #1, but Jeff Teetus closed the door very quickly. Ryan Keaton at 3rd and Keegan Ball at 4. I also told you CJ Kirst, I'm not against moving him up eventually because he has been awesome. It's no longer just Rookie of the Year because I think he's got that pretty much nailed down. And finally, it's time for my NLL Power Rankings. So let's do 14 to 9 first of all. Reminder, these are the teams that are not in my hypothetical playoffs. The Wings have fallen back down again. They did get punched in the mouth early by Oshawa. They came back, but it was whatever. They also traded away their big players or their big name players, and I feel like, well, that will not hurt them as much as people think it will. I still think they are the worst team in the league, and it's probably going to be official for the rest of the year. Shout out to Calgary. They're like, Toronto is not getting Joey Spallina. They're going to have to trade up to do so. Calgary looks decent. Their roster is not terrible. And it's not as good as other people's, but I'm not mad at what they've constructed there from a overall lineup standpoint. I think Aiden Walsh is playing good and can be good in the NLL. Tanner Cook is awesome. Hayden Dixon, Braden Maye is an athlete of athletes. And I wonder, I applaud Mike Board for staying put. Roughnecks are not a bad team. And if they add some pieces, they could be the ones looking good in the playoffs next year. I'm just saying. Oshawa Firewolves at number 12. They did get the win over Philadelphia. I also think, again, tomorrow, I'll show you my latest could happen. I think Oshawa's going to be closer to the playoffs than you think, but I'm not stupid. We'll get to that. 11 is Las Vegas. They did lose to Halifax. Halifax jumps up to 10. San Diego, I don't know what to make of them. I know currently the San Diego Seals are 6-6 and in the playoffs. I'm not buying that right now. Wesley Berg has yet to get his footing. O'Reilly has not been reliable, or at least consistently reliable as he should be. We'll see what happens. Now my top 8. I told you guys I was not moved by the Rush going 0-2. I've only 2 overtime losses is why I went there. I got Colorado staying at number 2 because they lost to the Ottawa Black Bears, who I think are not bad. I know Vancouver also lost to Toronto, but Toronto went in there and spanked them hard. Like, the Colorado-Ottawa game was close at the end of 3. Vancouver was dying for their lives, and that sounds weird to say, but they were fighting for their lives in that game and never really got it close. Buffalo is up number 3. This is a little bit of projection from me. I told you guys yesterday, I think Buffalo will be in the 2026 NLL Finals against the Rush. They are the 3rd best team right now. I give respect to Colorado, but Colorado keeps playing with their food, and they will be leapfrogged by the Buffalo bench in short order here. Georgia stays at 5. Toronto, I do give them credit for smacking Vancouver, even though I can't quite put them above the Swarm, even though I think that's going to change here soon as well. I think Ottawa will be a top 5 or 6 team as well. I could also see them jumping Georgia. I just feel like Ottawa's offense is too good. If Zach Higgins can have a pulse and be like around the 79% save percentage, that team's going to be dangerous come playoff time. And Rochester, you are on thin ice. You got rid of your coach. You got spanked again. I don't know how you respond anymore, but right now, the Nighthawks have to play a game in Henderson. We'll see how that goes. They could be falling very quickly. Reminder that we are on social media at Daily Dive LAX. We appreciate you all for tuning in as always. It's fun to grind on this show. Tomorrow I'll have my Creating the Narrative for week 16. We'll also have my Could Happen And I want to make sure here. Oh yeah, we're to say I'll use this to tease tomorrow, and maybe this is not like teasing it too much, but who could that be? Interesting stuff. We see you tomorrow, guys. Same time, same place. North American Talk Radio on YouTube. This has been Daily Dive.